While despite trying their absolute best to export more and import less, countries like USA and India are still suffering from massive trade deficits. On the other hand, China is in the exact opposite situation. China has achieved a trade surplus of $1 trillion, meaning that China gets $1 trillion every year from all around the world. But how did China achieve this? Where does this money go? And can China keep up its exports when it faces economic attacks from all around the world? Let's find out. So China has finally done it. From a trade surplus of merely $25 billion in the year 2000, China has now hit a trade surplus of $1 trillion, meaning that China's exports to the world are much more than its imports. Whereas other countries like United States face a trade deficit of around $1 trillion, countries like UK, India, France also suffer a trade deficit of more than $100 billion. So if other major economies like United States, UK, India, France, Turkey are facing this massive trade deficits, how can China achieve a trade surplus of this magnitude? Other countries with a huge trade surplus like Russia, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Norway, Qatar have huge reserves of natural resources like oil, minerals, gold, etc. But China is not a major oil producing country. China's economy is also not as advanced as Germany's. So we will find out how did China grow its trade surplus at such a high speed. For the first 11 months of the year 2025, China's exports had a value of around $3.4 trillion, while China's imports were of $2.3 trillion. So this led to China's trade surplus of around $1 trillion. While United States has consistently been a country importing a huge amount of China's exports, demand of Chinese goods in European countries and Southeast Asian countries have also increased, as you can see from this graph. Because of Trump's tariff and America's negative attitude towards China, China is trying to find new markets for its products all around the world. Between the years 2005 and 2025, not only has China's trade surplus increased, but its GDP is also touching record numbers. While China's main exports are final goods consumed by people or industries like electrical and electronic equipment, machinery, nuclear reactors, vehicles, furniture, articles of iron and steel, China's imports have mainly been advanced semiconductors and raw materials like mineral fuel, ores, metals, precious stones, copper, plastic, etc. So despite China's GDP per capita being 1/7 or 1/8 of United States, China still manages to export advanced products and equipments, not merely raw materials like Saudi Arabia, Russia or Qatar. While on one hand, the exports from China showcases China's economic strength and the advancement in technology achieved by China in the recent years, on the other hand, this shows that China is very dependent on other countries to sell its product, and the consumption of products in China has not been up to the mark in the recent years, especially because of the fact that China's property sector is going through a slowdown, and a large part of the wealth of Chinese citizens is in their properties and land. China's trade surplus of $1 trillion has also raised concerns among many nations that if all their products are imported from China, what will their countries produce? What will happen to the industries and jobs of the people living in these countries? But first, let's see how did China achieve this $1 trillion trade surplus and where is all this money going? China's goods surplus for the first 11 months of 2025 was up 21.7% compared to the same period last year. And this growth in exports was mainly driven by the exports of high-tech goods. China's auto exports, specifically electric vehicles, have increased a lot. China's shipbuilding exports have also increased, although the United States has banned ASML of Netherlands from selling their advanced shipmaking equipments to China, China has still managed to increase its semiconductor exports, mainly of the non-advanced semiconductors. China is still years behind Nvidia in chip development, but it is trying and using industrial policy to catch up to Nvidia, TSMC and Samsung. Under China's 5-year plans, it has tried to improve its high-tech industry and also improve its tech sector. This has shown huge success, and this has led to strong growth in exports of high-tech goods from China. China has also diversified its exports market and it is trying to improve its exports in Europe, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Another reason behind China's massive exports is its weaker currency. China's central bank intervenes in foreign exchange markets to maintain the value of its currency. Many economists argue that China is deliberately keeping the value of its currency low so that it can incentivize exports by making the value of Chinese goods cheaper and disincentivize imports by keeping the value of imports high. Now the question is, where is this extra $1 trillion in trade surplus going? Interestingly, the foreign exchange reserves of China's government has not increased as much as its trade surplus. And according to some analysts, this can be explained by private sector outflows of China. Since the year 2013, China's foreign exchange reserves have remained very stable, but its annual trade surplus since 2013 has increased by more than 4 times. So this money is not going to its foreign exchange reserves. And according to some analysts, most of this trade surplus is going back overseas through asset investment made by Chinese private sector players, which has made China's external accounts much more balanced than the trade surplus headline suggests. So as its name suggests, China makes 5-year plans after every 5 years. In this, the leaders of China decide on which sectors and which areas they want to focus on, and how do the leaders of China want to shape their economy for the next 5 years. Under China's 15th year plan made by the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, they want to focus in advancements in high quality development. They want to focus on technological self-reliance, and they do not want to stay dependent on other countries for critical technologies and resources. While some economists have said that China should focus on increasing consumption, it looks like that China's Central Committee wants to focus on self-reliance in high-tech sector. This focus on high-tech self-reliance will only increase its exports because it can make China's high-tech exports even better. China wants to do what it has been doing for a long time, and its primary priority is focusing on self-reliance rather than its consumption sector inside China. Although on the surface this trade surplus looks like a very good deal to China, this surplus has led to many problems for China's export markets like Europe and USA. Trump has tried very hard to restrict China's imports into the United States. Trump has imposed a tariff rate of around 50% on China's goods. In response, China has imposed a tariff rate of around 40% on United States. There are some allegations that Chinese companies are rerouting their exports to United States through third-party countries like Indonesia or Malaysia. If you found this video interesting, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.